Hey guys, it's Crystal with Pierre, and I'm just going to walk through and edit with you where I'm going to add a sky and clear up some of this down here and walk through my thought process with those decisions. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is the raw image and it is straight out of camera. I also do want to apologize if you hear my 2-year-old. She is on a no nap kick lately, so I just kind of rock it and just go with what I can do. So I apologize if she gets kind of noisy. So first I'm going to go ahead and crop this image. I'm not a big fan of the in-camera crop. I feel like they're more in the center and I want them more on the edge. And so I kind of like the way that this looks right here. I may move it just a little bit more. I move it up some. And I feel like that's a good spot right there. I like that crop. And so the next thing I'm going to do is, she loved these mountains. And so we went up into the mountains. It was probably about a 45-minute drive. It was gorgeous. And I wanted to showcase where we were. Rachel was over on my camera right taking photos of them. And so she was taking photos that were more zoomed in. And so I wanted to make sure I got one that showcased exactly where we were, because the client did choose this image, this location. So first I'll take my adjustment brush and I'll just make sure that it's lower exposure, because I know I'm going to be swapping out the sky. I want to make sure that this mountain right here has a defined line. And so I just am going to lower the exposure there and kind of on this one also. And if I wanted to, I could make my brush a little bit bigger. I just use the bracket keys next to the letter P to make it smaller and bigger. And I think that is good. And I'll make it a little bit bigger and just kind of come in here also. And then if I wanted to, I could also make this one a little bit darker also to kind of go with this one over here. And I like the way that that looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and click new, and then I'm going to raise the exposure some. And I know since I'm swapping out the sky, I need this to be white. The sky swap set works best with blown out skies. However, we do have videos in our Facebook group that show how to do it with a blue sky. But since this is all white over here, and then we've got a little bit of cloud and blue over here, I want to make sure that that's just white. So if I just raise the exposure and brush over that, and I can also raise my whites, that takes care of that right there. And so I'll come down here and just do this over right here. But I feel like that's much better. And now when I go to swap out the sky, it won't have any problems because it'll recognize that that is blown out. So I'll come right here too. There's a little area right there. Perfect. Okay, so now when I add in a sky, I make sure that I add in the sky before I do any editing in regards to running actions or changing the color tone of the image. I will get a clean white balance, but I won't do any actions or any other editing until I have the sky in, only because I feel like if you want to make the sky look as natural as possible, you need to act like the sky was there from the get-go. So if the sky was there from the beginning, you would be editing with the sky there. I hope that makes sense. So I'll go ahead and just open this image into Photoshop. And so now I'll come over here and I'll just run the sky extraction action, and it'll extract the white of the sky. And you can see right here that that helped because this image, this part over here had a little bit of blue to it. So I would have had to fix that. But since I did that in raw, it saw that it was white and applied it. So now I'll go ahead and make sure that the background layer is selected, and then I'll go ahead and choose apply overlay with options. And that's the one that I like the best because I like to have control over the brightness and the contrast of the sky. And so I'll just go ahead and use that, and then I'll find the sky that I want. Now, I'm also paying attention to the fact that we do have some natural sun flare over here. So whatever sky I choose, I want to make sure that the light follows that direction. And so I like this one. It's going to look a little dark at first, but I'm going to be able to take care of that. But you can see it all is almost perfect for this sky. This sky is almost perfect for this image because if you look at the rays of light, it is perfect with that. So I'll go ahead and hit place. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and move this up just a little bit. I don't want the dark sunset, but I just want a little bit of these rays right here. I think that's good. And you'll notice here, if you look at the bottom of the sky, this is the bottom of the sky. I keep it below, I keep it on the edge of the terrain right here. Because when you have a natural sunset, if you think to your house or your surroundings, when you have a super yellow or orange sunset, the color goes over everything. It's not just in the sky. It floods into my house and my walls turn orange or purple or red or whatever color the sunset is. And so you definitely want to take that into consideration also with your skies. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it will do what it needs to do. And now I'm going to need to obviously fix it up, and then I'm going to brighten it and stuff like that. So first I'm going to go ahead and click the sky, and I'm going to go Command T, and I'm going to just kind of stretch this out a little bit because I don't want this super dark corner here. Because again, I want it to be realistic. I don't want it to look super fake. And so I like that. So then I'll come up here to the extract mask, and I'll use a brush at about 75% or so. And it's going to be a black brush, and I'm just going to brush over the edge here where you see this like glowing shadow. Not glowing shadow, but this glowing line. And see, this is getting rid of that. So you just want to make sure that you get rid of all of it. Oh, I'm loving this already. Okay, and now I will actually come down and I will brush it on down here. And do you see how it's changing the color tone of that image? You just want to, of the not the image, but well, of the image, but also of the trees. You do want to make sure, if you look right here, you've got this line right here. That's where the sky ended. And so I just want to make sure I'll use my brush, and I'll use a white tool, and I'll just kind of brush off that so there's not a harsh line. The other thing you can do is click the sky again and Command T and just bring it down a little bit more, just to the edge of that the grassy area right there, and then hit enter again. And now I can use the brush tool on black and brush it in right here, and it changes the color of that the trees there. And I'll brush it into their hair because, again, like I said, you're going to get some color shooting off just because of the sunset color. So you want it to be realistic. Oh, and I love the way that this looks already. Okay, so now I feel like that is great. So now I can come down here to these options and I can brighten it or darken it or add some saturation. So they're all on 0%. So all you need to do is select if you want to brighten it and then just raise the opacity. Again, because I want it to blend in. I don't want it to be like overly like fake. And so I feel like this is a good, I really like the way that looks. I feel like it just adds a little bit of something to the image, but doesn't take away from the image. And then you can also, I'll just show you, you can darken it if you want. You can add some warmth if you want. You can cool, you can add contrast, you can also add some saturation. But again, I just like the way that looks. I feel like that could be more natural. And so when you're done, I just Shift Command E to merge everything. And just right there, we went from this to this. And I love the way that looks. And actually I'm noticing now that it did add some of the coloring to his shirt. So I may actually take care of that. So if you notice that after the fact, that's a really easy fix. So I'll go ahead and take a snapshot like I did. And then I'll make sure that this is right here. So just select that, make sure it's back to your original image. And then I'll come over to my history brush tool, and at 100% or 50% or whatever you want, you can just brush on that, and it will revert that particular area wherever you brush to what it was right here. So now if I take this, now it's not on his face, but you see the difference between his face and his shirt right here. So that's a super easy fix. I love taking snapshots, one, because it shows me the progression of my image, because sometimes as I edit, I get a little carried away and I can dial myself back a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to fix up down here because there was a lot of just rocks and there was a couple of areas of trash. And so I'm just going to duplicate the layer with Command J. And then I'll go ahead and use my spot healing brush tool. And I will just make it a little bit bigger using the keys next to the letter P, the bracket keys. And then I'll just select an area. And I will always do it on a duplicate layer, because then that way I can bring it back if I need to. Okay, so I'll just kind of get rid of some of these areas. I'm just going to kind of go really fast. And I just want it to look, I feel like these rocks and all these branches, while it's natural and it was there, I feel like maybe it lessens the beauty, I guess, a little bit. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase that, because it's a gorgeous location, but I feel like maybe it's a little busy. And so this is going to help get rid of that. And I'll just go here and right there. And I'm going to try a bigger one. Just have to be careful that it doesn't get too repeating. Now we'll see what this one does. And that's actually not too bad, but there is this little patch of grass is repeating. So if I just get rid of one of them, then that got a little crazy. Hold on. Okay, let me do that again. Actually, okay, go forward. Okay, now I just need to fix a couple of little spots here. I feel like that is fixed. Okay, so I feel like I need to go back to where it was before. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, that got rid of that. Got rid of that. Now we're going to try to get rid of this. Nope. That looked awkward. Let's try again. That looks better. Sometimes it takes a couple times to go through it to make it look. And I'll get rid of that right there. Okay, so there's just a couple little other areas like there and there. Just right there. I don't know exactly what that was, but just getting rid of that branch, I guess, whatever that was right there, looked a lot better already. There, here. Again, you can choose to do this or not do this. It's totally up to you. Okay, so just that was really fast. So I'll come over here to my history, take a screenshot, and we went from that to this. And I feel like that just looks a million times better to me. I just love the way it just looks. I don't know. It just looks cleaner to me. Again, personal preference. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. So this image right here is pretty much done. I mean, there's not much else that I would do. Now I can open it back into Camera Raw and run a couple of actions or presets, but I will actually just run a action from our studio set. Most people think of the studio set as only being used indoors, but I love the studio pop and the everyday pop. It is one of my favorites. And so I'll just go ahead and do studio pop, and I'll go ahead and lower the opacity of it a little bit. But I just love the little pop that it gives. I love that. So Shift Command E to merge that. And then pretty much, I don't think there's anything else that I would do. You could make it more dramatic if you wanted to and darken it around here and make them the center focus point. But really, I feel like that is a great clean edit. It's still got a little artistic flair to it since you added the sky. But this is exactly what I've given my clients. And I feel like it's a representation of my work. So if you have any questions, go ahead, let me know. Right now, the Sky Swap set is 50% off. It's only $35. It includes 90 skies and that action set. However, it also is included in our Buy Everything for $99, which you get the entire store, which is $3,600 worth of actions for only $99. That's only available for a limited time. We don't know exactly how long we'll leave that out. We did sell it a few months ago, and then we took it off the market, and we just recently brought it back for a week or so. So if you're watching this video and it's after the fact, it's probably not available anymore. Check back around Black Friday. But right now, the Sky Swap set is also 50% off. So go ahead and check all that out. And if you have any questions, let me know.